It's like New Year's in July, except it's usually in September. Greetings, hero. It is I, your friendly neighborhood rabbi, coming to you today to talk about Rosh Hashanah. What is it? But before we get into that, I want to make sure that you are hip to the 31-day Fall Jewish Holiday Learning Challenge. Oh boy, Learning Challenge. If you're not part of the challenge yet, just click on the first link that you see in the show notes below. Find out all about it. Find out how you can download my annual holiday guide updated with the dates for this year's Jewish holidays. You'll get sent links to all 31 videos in this challenge where you can learn a ton about the Jewish fall holidays so that you can have a more informed and meaningful and fun time with all of these fall holidays. And you just might win some books. But after several days of overview and preparation and calendar facts, yay, calendar facts, we're finally digging into an actual holiday. And that holiday is Rosh Hashanah, also known as the Jewish New Year. The two words of Rosh Hashanah, sounds like one word when I say it, but the two words are Rosh Hashanah, which in Hebrew means the head or beginning of the year. This is where we turn over our calendars and the count of years since the creation of the world, traditionally speaking anyway. Just like in the coming January 1, it goes from 2018 to 2019 of the Common Era. This Rosh Hashanah, it goes from 5778 to 5779. And that happens on Rosh Hashanah, which seems to happen a different day every year, but according to the Hebrew calendar, it's always on the first of the month of Tishrei. Fun fact, this is a biblical holiday, but the words Rosh Hashanah or head of the year don't appear in the Bible in the description of this holiday. Where we learn about this holiday is in the book of Leviticus or Sefer Vayikra in chapter 23, which actually has a good rundown of all the biblical holidays, starting with this one, where around verse 23-24, God says to Moses, "Speak unto the children of Israel and say to them that on the first day of the 7th month." What? Wait a minute. How is the new year starting on the 7th month? We gotta explain something here. In the Jewish tradition, there are actually a number of different New Year's days in a given year. In fact, in the section of the Mishnah called the tractate Rosh Hashanah, it begins by explaining that there are multiple New Year's days throughout the year. There's one New Year's Day for regnal years, or the number of years that a certain king has been in power. There's a New Year's Day for festivals, meaning the 3 pilgrimage festivals of the year. Both of those things are on the first of the month of Nisan in the spring. Trees have their own New Year's Day, and that is on the 15th day of the month of Shvat. And if you write that real fast in Hebrew, it's Tu B'Shvat. Because for various reasons, we like to count how long trees have been alive, and we don't know when every tree was born, so we just say every 15th of Shvat, that's tree birthday. There's a separate year of accounting for the birth of livestock so that we can keep track of how much livestock needs to be donated for the temple service, or used to anyway. And then there is the first day of the month of Tishrei, which is the new year for the counting of years since the creation of the world. In some places in the Rosh Hashanah liturgy, Rosh Hashanah is called Hayom Harat Olam, or today is the birthday of the world. This is also discussed in the Mishnah as a day in which every living thing is judged. The day on which God decides, in the traditional thinking, who gets another year after the one that just passed. And all this happens on the first day of Tishrei, which according to the ancient Hebrew calendar is the first day of the 7th month. Back to Leviticus 23. It says, on the first day of the 7th month, you will have a day of complete rest, do no work, and on this day there will be a Zichron Truah, a memorial with a trumpet sound. And for this reason, this day is also called Yom Truah, or Trumpet Day. Still terrible. So that's how you can have the head of the year in the 7th month, which by the secular/Gregorian calendar is like having New Year's Day on July 1st. You see what I did there? All back. And it usually happens in September because the first month, the month of Nisan, usually happens around March. So that's where it comes from. Now what do we do? The first and I think most important thing is that this is the beginning of the Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, or the 10 days of repentance. The Mishnah of Rosh Hashanah says that on this day, all living things come before God and are assessed or judged. The book of life is opened, as it were, and over the next 10 days, we're called on to focus on tshuva, on self-improvement, on mending relationships, and on resolving to be better people in the year to come. And that concludes with Yom Kippur. Also, as Yom Truah, you might imagine, there's a whole lot of shofar blowing going on. This happens throughout the morning service of Rosh Hashanah, first in kind of a mini service within the Torah reading service called the shofar service. And the shofar is blown several times with different kinds of notes by somebody who knows what they're doing. It happens again in the Musaf service, or the additional service after the Torah reading, 3 separate times. We'll get into that more when we talk about the liturgy of Rosh Hashanah. But there's a whole lot of shofar blowing. And in fact, if you add up all the shofar soundings, you get 100 of them over the course of the day. On Rosh Hashanah, this guy, kind of a big deal. And finally, something you'll notice that is associated with this holiday, unlike any other holiday, is the idea of sweetness. The common greeting around Rosh Hashanah isn't Happy New Year, but L'Shana Tova, or have a sweet new year. And this idea of hoping that somebody has a sweet new year and hoping that we have a sweet new year is reinforced with other holiday customs, namely eating sweet foods. In the festive holiday meals that are enjoyed over the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, those meals often begin with an appetizer of apples dipped in honey. Because apples are sweet, honey's sweet, apples and honey, super sweet. If you really want to get tricky, get like a Granny Smith apple because that kind of tartness enhances the sweet flavor of the honey. And you'll have other sweet foods like a tzimmus, which is often like a sweet casserole mixture of carrots and sweet potatoes and plums and juice and all sweet stuff. And so even as we're entering these 10 days of serious introspection and repentance, we start by wishing everybody a sweet new year and having a sweet first of the year ourselves by what we eat. Hero, I think it's really sweet that you watched this whole video about Rosh Hashanah. What is it? Where does it come from? What do we do on it in general? We're gonna have a few more videos about Rosh Hashanah in this 31-day Fall Jewish Holiday Learning Challenge. And if you're just joining us with this video, make sure you're signed up for this challenge by clicking on the first link you see in the show notes below. You can also play along by subscribing to this channel, making sure you click that little bell-shaped thing so that you're notified every time a new video comes out. Or you can make the whole thing happen by clicking on that little orange square down there so that you can get looped into this challenge so that you know what's going on, which gives you a more meaningful and joyful experience of the Fall Jewish holidays. Until next video, hero, peace. Still terrible. Fall back.